Thank you for joining us today for our Tinkercad activity for discovering the scientist within. We are so excited that you're here to join us. But before we get into the activity, we're going to hear from an OSU college student talking about a notable woman in STEM that ties into Tinkercad and using technology and 3D printing. So with that, I will hand you over to Ellie.
Great. Thank you so much, Emily. As Emily has mentioned, my name is Ellie, and I am a current third-year student studying biochemistry and molecular biology here at Oregon State University. I'm really excited to talk about 3D printing and all that stuff that goes into it because it's really exciting and really innovative. So with that, I want to highlight an amazing woman in STEM who brings together the worlds of fashion and 3D printing to create really exciting and amazing things. Her name is Anouk Wipprecht. She's a Dutch-based fashion designer, and she uses 3D printing to combine fashion and technology. She has worked with people like the Black Eyed Peas, the Super Bowl, Eurovision, and car companies like Audi and Volkswagen in order to create really exciting and really cool pieces. On the right-hand side is an image of one of her more famous dresses. It is called the spider dress. And the thing that's really cool about it is as people approach the spider dress, there are not the wings, but the little arms on the shoulders, they actually move in response to stimuli. And so as you approach the dress, they actually start to move. And so being able to combine technology and fashion makes really exciting and cool things that people can interact with and have a really interesting and cool experience with. So with that, I hope that you keep this notable woman in STEM in mind as you go into your Tinkercad activity. And we hope that you enjoy experimenting with us today.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Mike Bailey, and we're going to discuss Tinkercad. Let me move some windows around a little bit and sharing the screen. And there we go. So Tinkercad. Tinkercad is a computer-aided design package, but it is a CAD package on steroids. There are so many cool things you can do with it. And that's why we're talking about it. So first of all, I need to warn you, I am recording this from home and I may get some help. Okay, there's nothing like turning on the video to make the dog start barking at things. So yeah, you may hear these characters. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to get into Tinkercad first, and then I'm going to pause, or well, I'm not going to pause the video. You're going to pause the video and go do it. So there are notes, and if you're part of Discovering the Scientist, you probably got them in a packet. But if not, if you go to this web address, then you can get the notes. The Tinkercad program itself is right here, and that's where you will go. And here is an account that we have created for you. So don't do this yet. Let me just go through the whole process, and then you can pause and go do it. Okay, so if you go to www.tinkercad.com, again, don't do it quite yet, you're going to see something. They change this picture all the time, so it's probably not this now, but you'll see a button that says Start Tinkering Now. And you will click on that, and you will get to here. And they have these beautiful, brightly colored buttons, but don't click those. Yeah, no, they are so enticing, but don't click them. Do not click this blue one. Do not click this green one. Do not click this blue one. Go to the really boring button down here that says Sign In, the one that it's almost impossible to find in the midst of all these big, colorful ones. Click there. And when you get there, you will see a blue button that says email or username. Click that one. Okay. And to enter our account, go there. So the username will be MJB, that's me, at Oregon State or at engr.oregonstate.edu, and the password is Corvallis72542, all lowercase. It will echo the username so you can see if you've typed it correctly, and notice there are dots in here, dot, dot. It will not echo the password. It'll put up just little bullets, black dots. That's okay, just type it very carefully. Okay, can you create your own Tinkercad account? Yes, you can. If you click on this, you can. Do not do that. If you're under 18, do not do that without your parents there to help you, or at least with your parents' permission. But yes, you can create your own free Tinkercad account. Okay, and so when you get through all of that, you will be at a screen that looks like this. Okay, so at this point, well, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go through the process myself. All right, share a different screen, click, and we're here. Okay, yeah, okay, flat is boring. As I said, you're going to find a different picture from time to time. All right, start tinkering. Boring sign-in button at the bottom. Email or username. And here we go, mjb@engr.oregonstate.edu. I hope I get this right. This would be so embarrassing to get this wrong. And then password, Corvallis72542. And there's two L's in Corvallis. And again, this will be even more embarrassing if I get this wrong. Anytime it comes up and says, do you want to do something? No, the answer in general is no. All right, so you will come to a page that looks something like this. So pause the video, get logged in, go back and look at the instructions if you need to, and we'll resume from right here. But of course, I'm not pausing my video, you are. So I'm assuming you are all logged in and we're all back together. So what you want to do now is click on Create New Design. And you will come to a page that looks like this, kind of a big piece of blue graph paper. Okay, I'm going to go back to the notes. Fortunately, we've got 15 months of experience of going back and forth between notes and live action. And yeah, you're to this point. Create new design, you're back here. So this is what's going on. This blue piece of graph paper is your 3D scene. It doesn't look terribly 3D right now, but it will really shortly. You see a whole bunch of cool colored stuff over here, and we'll talk about that because that's where a lot of the magic is going to happen. Okay, this is really a 3D screen. So if you have a mouse, if you're on a system with the mouse and you hold down the right button, the one you usually don't hold down, and move it, it'll rotate. And I'll show you this live in a moment. The scroll wheel is the scale, zoom in, zoom out, and the middle mouse button, push it down like a button, is the pan, which means translate, move it around on the screen. Now, if you don't have a mouse, and Tinkercad runs just fine on a tablet, to rotate, you just poke that blue graph paper with your finger and move your finger around. Or you can touch this cube and move your finger around and it'll rotate the blue graph paper. To scale, you do the kind of pinching thing with your fingers like you've done all along. And to translate, you do the two-finger touch, and that moves things around on the screen, okay? Up in the upper left corner, you see this black arrow. That is undo. If you have a keyboard, Control Z works too, but that is undo, which you're going to find out is your biggest friend in the whole world when you're using programs like this. Also, while we're here, you see a trash can. That's how you'll delete things. You select them and then click on the trash can. Okay, so I'm going to go back to, whoops, need to do that. Didn't need to do that either. All right, here we go. What I meant to do was get out of this and then go back to the live thing. Okay, so here we are. And if I touch this blue graph paper and wiggle my finger or use the right mouse button, it moves around in 3D. If I go touch the cube, same thing. If I use the scroll wheel or the pinch, I can zoom out and zoom in. Or if I click on these plus or minuses, they will zoom out and zoom in. If I use the middle mouse button, I can move around, or if I do two-finger touch, I can move around. Okay, so everybody should be to this point right now. If you're not, go back and review in the video how we got to this point. Okay, pause a little bit. Okay, we're ready. So all this cool stuff over here, these colorful shapes. Yeah, if you scroll down, you can see this little scroll thing here. There's a lot of them. And there's even more than this, and we'll get to that. Okay, so tell you what, let's start here with this red box. Touch the red box either with your left mouse button if you've got a mouse, or with your finger if you don't, and just drag it out here. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see this better in the video. Okay, so you see a whole bunch of little squares. Some are white, some are black. But what those are there for is for you to change the size. So if I grab this black one and just pull on it, the mouse click or a finger, it makes this longer, makes it wider, up here, makes it taller. Okay, this black hat right here, set this down. This black hat is to lift it up off the floor, like that, puts a little shadow there to let you know it did it. Let's say I don't like that, I want to bring it back. Oh, undo, undo, click, click. I like undo. You also see these arcs with arrows on them. That's to rotate. So if I click on one of those, it brings up a protractor, and I can now move the, I can click on the arc thing and start rotating the block. So you can twist it, and there's 3 of these arcs with arrows because, well, it's 3D. There's 3 axes you can rotate about. So here's one on the floor. You also have these sliders, which will do some things. You can adjust the length and the width and the height right here if you want to. Oh, that's not good. And you wonder what radius? Radius is like a circle. What does that have to do with a cube? Well, if we do this, what it does is it smooths out the edges, which is kind of cool. In design, that's called beveling. And you can control how many steps it does it. That is how smooth are the sort of the curve on the edges. So there we go. We've got something. And if you just click out here in the empty space, it'll let go. Click the object, you got it back. If you don't like the color red, click up here, where it says solid, and it has red, and there we go. Oh, now it's a yellow beveled cube. Now, the cool thing about designing in 3D versus designing on paper is you can look at things from different sides. So now you can move around in 3D. Oh, what's it look like from the top? I can do that. Now, what if we bring something else out? Let's bring out this orange cylinder, touch it, drag it out. I'm going to overlap it some with the cube. I'm going to just lift it up some. I find this to be really fun. You know, in our real world, 3D things cannot overlap. Okay, they just can't. But in this world, they can. And it's kind of neat because now you can see what it does look like when 3D things overlap. Okay, and yeah, okay, right now they're separate objects. What if we want to make them one object? Well, you select them both, and the easy way to select them is if you click up here, just away from them, and leaving your finger down or the left mouse button down, you can drag out this box, the dashed red lines, and that selects everything in the box. So I've got both of them selected now. Up here, you see this icon. It sort of looks like a cylinder going into a box. That's how to group them. Okay, so right now they're two separate objects. If I click on one and move it, the other won't go. But if I click on group, and it's going to think for a moment, think. So now it's made them all one object. And you can tell because of this red line. If I let go by clicking out here, it's got them both. That is, if I click one, I get both of them. And if I try moving them, I get both of them. So that's how you know they've been grouped together. I'm going to undo that, and we're going to go over it again. So there's one, there's the other. They are separate. Again, I can pull this one, and the yellow box doesn't go with it. But if I pull this, we call this a bounding box. If we make a bounding box around both, and I click on group, and there we go. And now they're one. Okay, so that's kind of fun. And so that's how you build up objects, is by combining them like that. And now if you move one, the other one goes with it. Let me undo that because there's something other really fun things you can do. See, these are separate now. If I click on the orange cylinder, and up here, instead of clicking on the orange circle to change the color, I click here and say hole. Well, what does that mean? Okay, let's click on it. You know, what the heck? Let's just click on it. Well, it sort of makes it a ghost object. Yeah, okay, it's kind of ghosty. It's kind of transparent. What happens if we group one object with a ghost object? All right, let's do the bounding box. We've selected them both. We do a group. And what you find is when you group with a ghost object, it takes a byte out of the other object. Okay, and so that way you can put holes in things. You know, we can make a nameplate with your name, 3D letters, cut into the plate. Anyway, it's kind of fun. So at this point, if we were in a classroom together, I would say, all right, I'm going to turn you loose for like 10 minutes or so. Do something really interesting. And if you come down here, you'll see other stuff. Tell you what, for right now, don't do the text and don't do the scribble, because I want to talk about that when we come back. So take a few minutes. Since you can stop the video, you can take as much time as you want. So ready, go do something interesting. I'll just sit here and hum the Jeopardy theme. All right, so we're back. What do we want to do next? All right, I said don't do text, don't do Scribble. I wanted to show you that, but I'm sure a whole bunch of you went off and did them anyway, and that's good. Tinkercad is the kind of program where you just start poking at stuff. Wonder what this does. And usually it's a very pleasant surprise what you get out of it. All right, so I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to get rid of this, click the object, hit the trash can up here, and it'll go away. Now, as long as we're up here, as long as we're here, notice it's given me a name, Powerful Usam Jofo. I don't even know what that means. And Tinkercad does that, and yours will be different from mine, but it gives you a name. Now, if you want a 3D print, and I'm assuming you do, if you output your 3D printer file, it will call it Powerful Usam Jofo, or whatever your goofy name is, and we will have no idea whose file this is. So if I click up here, and then I can backspace, I can hit the delete key, and if you're on a tablet, a little keyboard will come up on the screen. I'm going to put in my name. And if you're going to 3D print with us, put in, if we have the right filament, what color you would like your object to be. Okay. What's going to happen, because we all logged in with the same account, it's going to put them all in that first screen we came upon. You probably looked around and saw there were lots of different designs there. It's going to put them all there. And then we're going to go extract 3D printer files. And anyway, this is how we know how to make it and who to get it back to. Okay, but really I came up here to click the trash can. All right, Scribble. So if we drag Scribble out, it's not a 3D object like the other things you drag out. It's really a command, because the moment you let go of it out here, it brings up this 2D blue graph paper, and what it expects you to do is draw. And so, let's see, discovering D, scientist. And you can make these things overlap as well. Boom, boom, you can make them intersect. You can have just a good time with it. And when you're all done scribbling, and you can erase it, down here's the little erase thing, click on done. And what it does is it brings your scribble back out as a 3D object. And this is just like any other 3D object now. Is I can click solid and change it to another color. I could click whole and make this a ghost object and subtract it out from something else. I could treat this as a solid and something else as the whole. And so we could put a cylinder through this whole thing. But anyway, that's what Scribble is for. And you can keep doing it, of course. You aren't restricted to just one scribble. Drag it out. Here we go. Done. And there it is. And notice, yeah, it is overlapping, but it's not part of it. Actually, let's do that. Okay, so let's make this a whole. And let's pick that and this. And let's group them. And okay. All right, so my second scribble took a bite out of my first scribble. Anyway, you can keep doing this. All right. So I don't know if you want, pause the video now and go off and scribble. But next I wanted to talk about the text. So if we drag this out, we get 3D text. That's the good news. The bad news is it says text. Who in the world wants to create a 3D object with the word text? Well, fortunately, you can change it because this dialog box comes up again. And if I click on this word text right here, not this little one, but this big one over here, and again, a keyboard will come up if you're on a tablet, then I can do something else. I could type in something else. And now you have 3D text. And this is a 3D object, again, just like anything else. And so, here's what's kind of cool. I picked a bad color for this. Let's do blue. And I'm going to drag out a box. And I'm going to make the box the length of Oregon. It looks like I have to make it a little bigger to cover up the letters. Up. Some letters sticking out on this side. That's kind of cute looking. All right. There we go. Now, unfortunately, we can't find the letters to click on them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this out a little bit. And I'm going to click on the letters. And that black hat is how you lift them up off the floor. And now I can slide the block there. I have enough. Oh, yeah, pretty much. All right, there we go. Okay, so I could click on both of these and I could group them, make them one object. And that means if you could take this out to, if you've got a 3D printer, if you could take this out to a 3D printer, then it would make sort of almost a rubber stamp. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Oregon, make it a whole, do the bounding box on both pieces, group them together. And now I have a nameplate with text that sticks into it. And so, yeah, yours doesn't have to say Oregon. Yours can say whatever you want, your name. You can make a nameplate. So now you know what everything does. Most everything is a shape, except for text and Scribble. Those are something special. So take about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and go off and do something interesting. And when we come back, I'll show you a whole bunch of other Tinkercad tricks. Ready, go. All right, I'm assuming you're back. Oh, time out for a moment. I have a puppy under my desk who wants to be petted. Okay, thank you for not barking though. That's pretty nice. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun working at home when there's a puppy running around. Okay, so let's look at some other things. I'm gonna click on this and delete it. Ah, here goes my nameplate. Okay, so up here it says basic shapes. And you see this down-facing black triangle. If you click there, there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Basic shapes is only one of the things. There are individual, if I click on text and numbers, there are individual letters and numbers. Yeah, that's sort of like what you've already done. If I click on characters, and I'm not sure why this is here. Okay, there are some hands, a scuba mask, a flipper. Okay, who designs with those? I don't know. Sunglasses, normal glasses, ice cream cone, a chicken foot. Okay, I have no idea why that's there, but there's an egg, and so you could make the chicken foot to appear to be coming out of the egg. There's some bunny ears, there's some eyeballs. So these are just normal 3D things you can design with. So, have fun with that. If I go back, tell you what, let's go down here to shape generators because I'll tell you what, let's go to printables. These are really interesting. It turns out the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. has been scanning in, 3D scanning, a lot of their collection. And so if I want to put a woolly mammoth in my 3D scene, well, gosh, I can do that. Just come out here and drag the woolly mammoth out into your scene, and there you go. Kind of cool, huh? And you probably want to make it a little smaller. Yeah, and when they do things like this that are much more detailed, it oftentimes will take a while for that click to register. Yeah, I can even squish it like that. That is, be patient. When you click on it, it's not going to come back right away like the box did, because it takes more time to figure out where you're clicking on that much detail. Anyway, there's an Apollo command module. There's some death masks of Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, interesting stuff. So that's the Smithsonian collection. Here, I'm going to get rid of our woolly mammoth. Not terribly woolly if it's just a skeleton. If I go down some more, oh, dinosaur. Look at this, all these dinosaur pieces. And they have these nubs on the end. And I think if you could 3D print these, I think that's what you're supposed to do if you care, is if you 3D print these, they will snap together. Because they do the same thing down here on human skeleton. Ooh, who doesn't want a skull in their 3D design? That makes perfect sense to me. But anyway, they have these little nubs on the end, and so I think they're made to snap together if you were to 3D print them. Anyway, we'll get that out of there. But the one I really wanted to show you that I really like personally is shape generators. Okay, and what does the word shape generator mean? Well, we have some shapes here, and I'm going to pick this one, fidget spinner, and I'm going to drag it out. And there it is. But there's this dialog box. And look at this, arm count, currently set to 3. What if I want a 5-arm fidget spinner? Well, there I go. And so that's what all these sliders are. That's what a shape generator is. It generates a shape. You know, it starts with some basic shape, but you can change it not by you pushing and pulling on it, but by you adjusting these numbers. Okay, and so you can have a good time with this. Like, what does a 20-arm fidget spinner look like? Well, there we go. Kind of looks more like a gear than a fidget spinner, but sure, why not? Yeah, you have to get down like under 10 before it actually looks like a fidget spinner. So that's kind of fun. The other one I really like is this one over here called Voronoi, although you ought to scroll down and check them all out. Okay, so what is Voronoi? And I'm just gonna make this bigger. Voronoi, it's actually a mathematical thing, yeah, but we don't care. It's kind of cool. What it does is it makes these little cells. And if I change the number of cells, well, it gets more detailed and more detailed and more detailed. But here's the part I really like about Voronoi. If I click on peaks, click, and then if I click on varying heights, click, it has suddenly turned this into a terrain, a mountain range. And if I change the cell height, okay, I have now made a mountain range perfectly suitable as a playground for a woolly mammoth skeleton, say. I don't, but anyway, that's what Voronoi does. And it's a mathematical thing, but we can have a lot of fun with it no matter what it is. And there's other stuff here, and you click here. Now, there are 2 sets of shape generators, one called featured, one called all. Let's click on all. Actually, let me get rid of the Voronoi. Okay, here's US states. I'm going to drag this in, and oh, it's New York. Boo, we don't want New York, we want Oregon. But here's New York, and if I click there, I've got a menu, and I can click on Oregon, and there we go. And oh, let's make Oregon green, tree filled, and I can drag this out, and I could put 3D text and make it part of it. You can do all kinds of stuff. So there are US states, there are, well, these are provinces in China. This is European countries. Let's drag something out. And here we go. Look, European countries. Turkey. Why Turkey is purple, I don't know that. But there we go. So anyway, there is a lot of interesting stuff here that, has to do with things like you study in school, geography. There's also, I like these too. There's also a brick wall. And you can change sort of the, well, it's hard to tell from the color. Let's see if we can get a lighter color on it. There we go. So you can change how much grout is between the tiles. Like, ooh, there's a lot. Like the bricks are separated now. How many bricks are there? We can put lots of bricks in or less bricks in. So there's more you can do. Okay, there's two versions of the brick wall. But you notice these numbers down here? There are a ton of other things in here. And people keep adding new ones all the time. So, next time you get on Tinkercad, you may find other stuff that wasn't in here the last time you looked. Okay, so that is basically Tinkercad. There is one more thing I wanted to show you. If you have access to a 3D printer, your own 3D printer, a lot of homes have them now, a lot of schools have them now, you can write out a 3D printer file. And so we click on an object, we go to export. The word export means giving something away. And we click on STL. STL is the file type that all 3D printers seem to know about. So I would click on that, and I would click on Save File, and it would let me navigate to somewhere. But see what it's done with the file name? My name, color.stl. That's how you know it's a 3D printer file. So anyway, that's the last thing I wanted to show you, because not only can you design in 3D, but you can look around in 3D, and you can make a physical model of that you can hold in your hand. So 3D is a very cool thing. And it'll be with you forever, really, because there's a lot of careers that use 3D. Now, it's not just engineering or science, it's also architecture, it's medicine, it's art, it's animation. So this is becoming more and more of a 3D world. So if you like this stuff, this opens up a world of possibilities in your own life. So my name's Mike Bailey. I teach computers at Oregon State University. My email, it's on the notes too, is mjb@cs.oregonstate.edu. And if you've got any questions, or if you do something cool and want to send me a picture of it, please do. Thanks for being here. Good luck.